Christian watching a documentary on blacks in sports. His mom was visiting and joined in on the program. It's amazing how far black people or African Americans have come in the world of sports. Christian also discussed the topic of blacks in sports with his dad. So, after their discussion, Christian fell asleep. In his dreams, here we have the New York Cubans baseball team. Since there was racial segregation in America prior to the 1950s, many non-Caucasian Americans started their own teams. The New York Cubans comprised of African Americans, Hispanics from different regions to the Spanish world and other ethnic groups. Baseball has always been and is a big sport in Cuba. They were active through the late 1930s and into the 1940s as a significant Negro Leagues team. In 1947, the New York Cubans won the Negro World Series championship. Even though a lot of teams were segregated, they did play Caucasian players around the United States. This included not only baseball, but football, basketball, soccer, and other professional sports. The Black Fives was an all-black basketball team that started around 1904 and disbanded around 1947 once integration for blacks in sports began in the late 1940s. Like the Harlem Renaissance, known as the Wrens. The Wrens' basketball record was 2,588 wins and 529 losses. Very impressive. Just a little trivia tip, the Harlem Globetrotters played with the Wrens once and lost. They never played the Wrens again. Another interesting note is that the Harlem Wren won the first inaugural World Championship of professional basketball in 1939, beating the best teams all over the United States, regardless of their color or race. Then in 2 seasons, back-to-back, they won the 1924 and 1925 Colored Basketball World Championship. Next, we have the Western Tigers Soccer Club. They mainly played in the 1920s. Not much is mentioned about them in history, but they did have an impressive first season, coming in second to only Germany in soccer. However, after that season, they failed to advance past the first round of the sport, and a year later, the team slowly disbanded. Their uniforms of this era typically consisted of heavy wool jerseys and flannel shorts. Now, football was a tough sport for black athletes to integrate. Most players prior to 1950 played at historical black colleges or universities. Black players were banned from the NFL between 1933 and 1946. A little note, the Harrisburg Trojans won the 1941 Negro World Football Championship. Other notable teams of that era were the Brown Bombers and the Chicago Comets. Not until after 1946 were black athletes able to really integrate the sport of football. The Los Angeles Rams signed Kenny Washington, a UCLA star from the 1940s, in March of 1946. This was the beginning of breaking the color barrier in the NFL. George Taliaferro was the first black player to be drafted to the NFL in 1949. He was drafted by the Chicago Cardinals. So along with the black sports writers and the newspaper articles, change was coming. Not only for men, but shortly after for women too. Today we have all ethnic groups playing together and even women involved in professional sports. So, Christian dreamt of being part of the historical championship team, the Harlem Renaissance, or the Wrens, as most people called them at the time. Due to continuing racial tensions and lack of financial support, low spectator attendance had a lot to do with these teams disbanding as well. Many of the great players joined entertainment teams, like the Harlem Globetrotters, and got to show their extraordinary talents with handling a basketball, which many times they couldn't do on the basketball court. This video is dedicated to the men and women who persevered to overcome prejudice and racism to excel in their sport. Today, we all play together, and ethnicity or color of one's skin is no longer a barrier.